Hey y'all, we are here with Erik Dylan at the George Dickel Distillery. Thank you for joining us for the hang. Thanks for being here.
Great.
Do you want to introduce your friends?
Yeah, I've got Randy Montana over here. He's a great songwriter buddy of mine and also helped me produce the last record. And I've got my buddy Charlie Berry over here, another great songwriter, artist, and been out on the road with me a little bit playing guitar the last couple months, so just thought we'd bring both worlds, the songwriting world and the live world, back in together tonight.
So let's chat a little bit about the album. Topped a ton of year-end lists. Awesome. So congrats to all you guys. Picking songs for the record, obviously I would assume wasn't an easy task. Do you want to talk a little bit about how that came together, and was it one song first and then you kind of built from there, or when did the vision begin and how did that sort of start to be?
I don't know. I've been writing those songs for so long that I guess the record could have been 30 songs, easily been. But I don't know. I write about a lot of similar topics, so I think Randy and I just went in and tried to find the best 10 songs. And Part of a Flatland Boy is a tune that Randy and I wrote together with Andrew DeRoberts, and kind of wanted to make that the centerpiece of the record and go from there. So isn't that kind of how we do it?
Yeah, and you had a theme going already, which was really cool. We said kind of started there, and that's the aiming point, and then I think we just tried to sprinkle the rest of the subject matter in and around it. You know what I mean? So.
What was the oldest song, like the first one you wrote that made the record, and then the most recent one?
The oldest song, I would have to check, but I think it was Map.Town. I wrote that with Jake Mitchell. That would have been 4 years prior to the record coming out. And then the newest song was Pink Flamingos. I wrote that 3 months before we went in to cut the record. So yeah, that one just kind of fell in my lap, and I was the only one crazy enough to want to record a song about that subject matter. So.
Well, good for you for...
Thanks. We'll see how it works out.
Well, Matt, I mean, do you all want to play one? And
yeah, you want to play Pink Flamingos?
Let's do that.
Talking about that?
Yep.
Cool.
Feel free to sing along on Facebook, wherever you're at on the interweb out there. We knew he was trouble right from the start, when Becky brought him home to the trailer park. Living boyfriend, pell-mell breath, checking out her daughter in her Sunday school dress. Ooh, if anybody else, we're pleading the fifth. Ooh, nobody ever liked that son of a bitch. She said he left town, but everybody knows he's buried in the front yard, pushing up Pink Flamingos. Becky was at work when he crossed that line. Next door neighbor heard her baby crying. Ain't no doubt about what he done, so she took a smoke break and bought her a gun. Ooh, if anybody else, we're pleading the fifth. Ooh, nobody gonna find that son of a bitch. She said he left town, but everybody knows he's buried in the front yard, pushing up Pink Flamingos. No, sir, no, we ain't seen him around. No, sir, ain't seen him around. Ooh, if anybody asks, we're pleading the fifth. Ooh, nobody ever liked that son of a bitch. Ooh, if anybody else, we're pleading the fifth. had that line, pushing up pink flamingos, and I really wanted to use it in the song. And we tried to write it. I think you and I even tried to write that idea once, and we couldn't.
Yeah.
Just couldn't get it down the road. And then
No, we did. We sat. Me and Eric write every other Tuesday, and it was one of those titles that he'd thrown out, and we just couldn't wrap our heads around it that day. And he called, and he's like, "Man, you care if I write this title with somebody else?" I'm like, "No, not at all, man. We didn't get anywhere on it." So
yeah, and
knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, Adam James wrote that with me too, and he's one of those writers that he's a fearless. He's gonna try. He's gonna try it, even if we probably shouldn't try it that day. But yeah, he came up with the part, the guitar part, and we just kind of went from there, and had to decide that it was gonna be about a pretty dark subject, and try to make it a pretty happy melody to go along, and maybe fool the listener before they go, "Oh shit, what are they talking about?" But yeah, I'm really happy how it turned out.
It sounds great. Can you talk a little bit about sort of like when you do go into your write? I mean, for people that aren't in Nashville, you know, you're writing out of a house, and it's sort of a different feel. I don't know, just sort of what that vibe is like.
Yeah, I mean, Randy and I write every other Tuesday, and we usually write at an old early 1900s house on 19th Avenue, and we sit on a couch and drink coffee and talk about life and babies and all that stuff in the morning, and what we're up to, and how big a deer Randy shot, you know. And then
a big one, right?
Just in the fall. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, since we're on the
legally,
we keep secrets in those rooms. But yeah, we just talk about life, and I always know when I go into a write with Randy that we're gonna come out with something good, or we're gonna have a real good time, or we're gonna go have lunch or a beer somewhere if it's not working that day. But we kind of know each other that well.
And that was the cool thing about making, I think, this whole project was being familiar with each other's songs. You know what I mean? I was fortunate enough to have a couple on there with Eric, but too, I was privy to the songs that I knew were going on there. You know what I mean? Where you can be like, hell yeah, man, that one needs to go on there. You know what I mean? Like that fits a thing, and I think it's a cohesive project, you know, which is really cool. I mean, we may have missed a little here and there, but
you made it up.
Right.
The cool thing about the project was knowing that it was going to be something cool. We knew it was going to be cool. We knew we were going to like it. We didn't know if anybody else would like it, but thanks for liking it, Annie.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we went in, and I really believe that us picking the right musicians on the record made those songs 10 times better than what they were. I mean, we had great players on the record who knew what we were going for and knew the direction that I was going in. So yeah, we had a blast.
Yeah.
And that's something the musicians too you bring up. That's so crucial. You know, the different creative character that each musician on a record has. Like, that's something that really struck me when I moved to Nashville, is how much you really hear, you know, not just the producer and the writers and the artists, but you hear, you know, the guy playing guitar and drummer and all that stuff, their characters all.
Yeah, they were great. They were a great band, amazing band.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I think it takes a certain vibe to accomplish a certain sound, you know, and Eric knew going in what he wanted, and so it made that process really easy as far as who to get on there, you know.
Totally.
Yeah, and I think another thing was having a real outside-the-box engineer, a guy named Paul Cosette, who he'd worked a little bit for Jay Joyce and some other people, but he's 22 years old, and he's into like indie punk stuff that I don't really know much about, like stuff I'd like to know about, but he, I don't think he particularly enjoys mixing contemporary country records, so he really fought hard to make this record something different. So thank you, Paco. He probably doesn't have Facebook. I'm sure he's too cool for that.
Send it out into the world. Sort of, as a writer that's had cuts with other artists as well, how does that sort of inform the way you write? Like, are you always writing for you and then other people just love them and cut them, or like, is that different every time too?
I think that changes too. You guys could talk about that a little bit too, but I think I write enough songs each year where I feel like every day I'm just trying to write something good, and the songs that are for me, they show up on different days, but I don't ever walk into a room and say, today's for me. I think that's a bad way to come into a write, unless you have a major label record deal and a bunch of writers that want to make your record. Randy and I and Charlie and I, we just try to write something cool that makes us feel like we did a good job that day. I mean, songwriting is much like any other job where you must be present to win, and you have to do your best every day, and you're going to miss it sometimes, you're going to hit it sometimes, and you just hope for you to hit it more than you miss it. So that's my goal.
Totally.
But
where do you guys, I mean, for all of you, like, where do you find titles from or ideas from? Is it everywhere? Are there things you, like, specifically need to do, or?
A lot of conversation.
we have like 7 titles we got from you. No, conversation is I think that's where it comes from. I get a ton of titles just talking to old men in Kansas that I grew up with, around old farmers and stuff. They just say things a different way. So, and you keep, I don't know, we're in a van a lot on the road, going different places, and you encounter interesting people out there on the road, and you encounter these cool little towns, and you see things that make you want to write about them too. So I think you just try to be open and aware of every title that could be walking through the door.
Totally.
You know?
Is that something like, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think a lot of it is just being kind of aware of yourself when you're in the moment with people having a conversation, just when that little buzzer, that little light bulb goes off in your head, paying attention to that and going, oh, that's compelling to me. Yeah. And, you know, most of us keep a list of things, and you're kind of always looking for the song in a situation. Not that you want to twist a situation to your own benefit, but just when something makes you feel something, you got to pay attention to that, and that ends up coming out in the writing room.
Yeah.
Cool. If you're talking to other writers and there's something sort of momentous there, is that like a thing? You kind of be like, there's a title here, and
yeah.
You know, do you fight over them?
I think you know what writers to write certain titles with too. Like I know what songs I'll save titles for you, and I save titles for Randy, and sometimes he likes them, and sometimes he's like, man, it sucks. Let's write something else. But I think that's what you start finding out in your writing circles, is who you write well with. Bottom line for me is who I have fun with. I mean, who I want to be in a room for 6 hours trying to create something, and guys like this.
Totally.
Yeah.
We have a question from Instagram. What's your favorite song that you've ever recorded or that's been recorded by somebody else?
Man, I personally, I think Comeback Kid. Yeah, that's my favorite song that I've written that somebody else has cut. But
Cut by Kip Moore, for those that are.
Yeah.
And if you're unfamiliar, you have to listen immediately. But anyway, continue.
You're a little bit of a Kip fan too, aren't you? A little bit.
He's just a little.
Yeah.
Some
Kip's
talent.
awesome. And Kip, I thank God that he recorded that song, because that was my first cut where I could go out and buy the CD at Target and got to look at it, and maybe showed me just a little bit longer that this could happen. You know, when you actually get to see your song on a CD and you go, wow, I haven't made it yet, but there's a chance. You know. And everybody in your hometown thinks you're rich then, which you aren't. No, I'm not rich at all. I send money. But yeah, it was just, that song did a lot for me personally. And the bottom line was I just love that song. I think it's a good song, and I'm proud of it.
Absolutely. How did it come together? When did you guys write that?
We wrote that when it was the last song that he did, and I'm trying to remember what year it sat around for a while after we wrote it, but it was me and Ross Copperman and Jeff Hyde and Kip. So just one of those days where Ross's musical analysis of what I was saying just worked out perfectly, and then Kip happened to come by and jumped in and just instantly got it. And Jeff Hyde's always there to do amazing things. Jeff is one of the best lyricists that I can think of, and a great singer, but I just love his lyric. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, we just had one of those good days. And if I knew how it happened, I would
bottle and do it again.
More of those. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I don't know, what's your favorite song? I would take a guess, but the songs that you've written.
I think just personal ones, like songs that mean something to me. You know what I mean? Like Rebel Kids.
Yeah, that was my favorite tune you've written.
It's just because
Justin Moore's record.
Yeah, Justin Moore cut it. It's just because it's personal. You know what I mean? Like, it means something to me, which I think as writers we can go in there and say that every day you don't walk out with a song that goes, yeah, this one's about me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that day it was, and so I think it's cool when somebody else hears that and relates. You know what I mean? And goes, yeah, that's me too. You
Songs
know?
like that, like the Someone Else cuts, what's it like hearing that song that is so personal to you as a piece of someone else's story? Is that awesome? Is it weird? Is it both?
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And some things you hear and you love, and others you don't.
Mhm.
But there's ones that really stick out that turn out better than you could have imagined them turning out. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think it's always flattering when somebody hears something that you wrote and wants to put that on. They've got 11 subjects they want to talk about on a record that's going to last for 2 years. And what you talked about that one day, they want to talk about. That's a pretty cool deal, you know?
Yeah, I agree
Amen.
with that.
Do you want to play another one?
Yeah. Do you want to play Rebel Kids?
No, let's do another one that we wrote together. Let's do.
You should have Randy do Rebel Kids before the end of the day. I'll love that tune.
Okay.
You want to do? Let's do Willie Nelson T-shirt. This one's on Heart of Flatland too. 1, 2, 3. Girl, we were just about as good as it gets. I was thinking about buying a ring with a rock studded on your fingertip. I really thought you were the one. Yeah, you had me thinking about a white dress, picket fence, everything under the sun. True love. What you done to me, what you done to me, baby, no you can't take it back. It don't work like that. You used to be my honey, but you ain't nobody no more. So just give me my 1985 Willie Nelson T-shirt back, and I promise you that I won't run around town telling everyone you're a white lie, alibi, scarlet letter. You ought to be ashamed, girl, you should have known better. I know you can't help it, so I cut you some slack. Give me my Willie Nelson T-shirt back, yeah. Right, baby, you can cry all you want, but it ain't gonna do you no good, 'cause this ship just sailed. What's done is done. I mean done. There's a whole lot of fish in the sea, and one of them's looking at me with a grin. I think it's time to start fishing again. She's a 10. What you done to me, what you done to me, baby, no you can't take it back. It don't work like that. You used to be my honey, but you ain't nobody no more. So just give me my 1985 Willie Nelson T-shirt back, and I promise you that I won't run around town telling everyone you're a white lie, alibi, scarlet letter. You ought to be ashamed, girl, you should have known better. I know you can't help it, so I cut you some slack. Give me my Willie Nelson T-shirt back, yeah. All I want is a Willie Nelson T-shirt. All I want, just give me that T-shirt back. I want my T-shirt back. I want my T-shirt back. Yeah, what you done to me, what you done to me, baby, no you can't take it back. It don't work like that. You used to be my honey, but you ain't nobody no more. That's for sure. So just give me my 1985 Willie Nelson T-shirt back. I promise you that I won't run around town telling everyone you're a whore. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Woo!
Yeah.
So there's got to be some sort of story behind that one.
Not about a girl, but I was playing in Texas a ton, and I was just looking for a song that was going to work in front of a bunch of people I didn't know in Texas. And I was like, gotta find something Texas to sing about. You're from Dallas, right?
Yeah.
It's an interesting situation when you're from Kansas and you want to get into the red dirt area, because we're not red dirt, but I'm influenced by that kind of music. So I thought, let me figure out a cool way to put Willie Nelson into a song, and the story's there too. I think a lot of people, especially drunk college kids, agree with me when I sing it on stage. They always seem to anyway.
Yes.
So.
One of the things I think y'all can probably all contribute to is touring. Obviously, there's an amazing piece to it, and there's a really tough piece to it. So I'm kind of curious if you have any interesting road stories, whether it's a horror story or just, you know.
It's deep water you're getting into.
Yeah,
Well,
There's a lot, we got a lot of them.
Yeah.
First time I
it
interviewed.
depends on what you're going to allow on your show, too. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, I remember the first time I interviewed you talking about driving 11, 13 hours to play 45 minutes and then drive right back. And that always sort of stuck with me as like,
Yeah.
whew, what a thing. It's a job.
That still sticks with me. Like I found out what I didn't want to play by making those drives that I hated making.
Yeah.
Do you guys like being on the road? Other than being on the stage and hanging out in a new town, do you enjoy being in a van?
well, you better. You know, you better love it. You know what I mean? Like, I
Learn to
just
love it.
equate it to about 24 hours together for about an hour on stage. You know what I mean? Like, it was 24 hours worth of whatever for that 1 hour. So.
Most
Makes a difference who you're traveling with, for
Absolutely,
sure.
yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
You also learn about kind of who you are as an artist when you're doing that. It's like, it refines you. Like you said, you learn what you want to play. You learn about the kind of shows you want to play. You learn about what kind of songs is it worth it to drive 12 hours.
Yeah.
If I got to drive 12 hours and I get 45 minutes to tell some strangers who I am and what I'm about, you start yanking things off the shelf pretty quick. Like, I'm not playing that ever again. I'm not playing that ever again. It's like, and sometimes, at least with me, I've ended up with fewer songs than I needed after doing a trip like that. You go, okay, well, I got 6 good ones.
Yeah.
You know,
Time to get back in the room.
Yeah, it's time to start writing again.
I do think it shows you what you love to do, though, and what kind of songs that you want to be performing. Because when you go to a new town, most of the time, they don't know anything about you at all.
Mm-hmm.
And you're trying to gain new listeners and make them like what you do so you can go do it again in their town. And I think my best approach at doing that is doing stuff I love. Even if they don't like the song, they're going to see that at least I'm being honest with myself, and hopefully they'll like the song and see that I'm being honest too. But
Totally.
yeah, but I haven't been lucky. We haven't had any accidents in the vans or anything like that, or any just bad stories. I think a lot of that comes back to what Charlie's saying, is putting good people out there on the road with you.
True.
We have a lot of fun in the van. You know, there's tons of, there's lots of jokes and lots of. We listen to a lot of bootleg recordings of older country artists and that kind of thing, and I don't know. It's pretty boring actually, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a great place to sleep, though, I imagine.
No, hotels are a must when you're in a van. But,
Yes.
but yeah, I don't know. That back bench, if you get tucked in between the two benches, you can. That's my spot. I can sleep
Nice.
for a while.
I would chime in though and say I love it.
Yeah.
I love being on the road. Yeah, I really love it. I love getting to do this and getting to do it with guys like this. It's like, it's like we don't have a lot of horror stories, but kind of like compared to a 9 to 5, it's just all a horror story. It's just like it's all just unpredictable and weird, and it can be such a roller coaster emotionally, particularly when you're tired after a couple days on the road. It's like you get slap happy. That's really fun, and also like. You play the roller coaster of it, and you play one night and it's packed. You play the next night, it's empty. How do you deal with that? How do you not think I'm great or I'm not great or whatever, and you just have to stay true to what you believe in, the message you're putting out there. But,
How much does like the way fans connect with like one song versus another song, or different cities connecting with different songs? How much does that play into what you end up recording, or does it at all?
I mean, if there's a new song that everybody loves live, you have to take that into account. I always ask myself, why do they like this song? They've never heard it before, and I think a lot of it on the live scene, when you do that, I think it's more tempo and feel based, because in most of the clubs I play, they can't understand what I'm saying half the time, I think. So
Totally.
that's kind of how I feel, and the songs my happiest moments out on the road are the songs that people should be talking over. When you hear a room kind of go silent on a song like Fishing Alone or Map Out Town, that makes me feel good, because it's like, wow, I made a bunch of people drinking alcohol in a bar be quiet for 3 minutes and feel something good.
It's a pretty impressive skill in itself.
And that doesn't happen every night. Sometimes it's like, let's go to Willie Nelson, guys. Yeah. But yeah, I think it's that you always have to think, why did people like this song that they haven't heard before, and yeah, that's a song that you have to consider for future projects. But with my projects, I'm trying to stay real cohesive and like full albums that make sense when you listen to them front to back. So I would hope that it would fit into that too. But yeah, if people are happy though, and I'm happy, you know.
Job done.
Yeah. But
Totally. Do y'all want to play another?
yeah. What do you guys think? You wanna do Fishing Alone? Want me to make you cry, Annie?
I'll stay in the corner over here and sob silently.
No, that's. If I'd have known it was the last time, we'd be sitting on the shoreline. I'd have probably talked a little less about myself, I guess. We've got to say goodbye. Lord, there ain't no crystal ball, there ain't no writing on the wall. Next thing you know, something's wrong. Get the news, drop the phone, and you're fishing all alone. We never fixed up that old car, she's still sitting in the yard. We never did make Arkansas to fish for rainbows in the fall. Guess I just lost track of time. I got busy, he got old. But I got lots of time to think about these kind of things, fishing all alone. Lord, I never saw it coming, but I guess you never do. I used to call him Sunday morning, and I really don't know when to turn to every now and then. We never fixed up that old car, she's still sitting in the yard. Never did make Arkansas to fish for rainbows in the fall. Guess I just lost track of time. You blink your eyes and then it's gone. Well, I got lots of time to think about these kind of things, fishing all alone. Life flies by, and it's gone in the blink of an eye. We never fixed up that old Dodge, she's still sitting in the yard. Drove her down to Arkansas to wet a line and talk it out. I guess you just run out of time. You blink your eyes and then it's gone. Well, I got lots of time to think about these kind of things, fishing all alone. Well, I got lots of time to think about these kind of things, tradition all along. Made you sad, didn't I?
It hurts.
Yeah. Wrote that with Doug Waterman. He's another one of my favorites to write with.
It takes a certain level of vulnerability, I imagine, to go into a room and write a song like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's similar experiences. It just so happened that we both had similar experiences there, and we tapped into it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the key, is just finding writers that know where you're coming from.
Totally. Well, I think that's something with sort of music in general, is like it's one specific experience, but everybody has that same kind of feeling that connects their experience to your experience. And
Absolutely.
what are some of your go-to songs to put on vinyl?
My Saturday morning album is usually Sunvolt Trace. I love that record. Go-to. There's a new one I've been listening to. It's a Third Man Records release of Neil Young recording straight to the little booth recording machine.
Yeah.
And he's doing like standards on acoustic guitar into this old recording device. And
That's cool.
I love that too.
That's awesome.
But I don't know. How about you, Rand?
I just got an Audio Technica
Oh.
nice turntable for Christmas this year. Moving up from the Crossley, and no, but we found a Tom Petty or it's just Tom Petty, but for a Wildflowers record on vinyl, which is they're hard to come by.
That's
And,
awesome.
Yeah, so
That's a great record.
that was the first one to spin around on it the other day.
Nice. You got to choose your first one wisely.
Yeah, that was a big deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time figuring out which one was going to go first. So
How about you, Charlie?
I'd say Huey Lewis and the News.
Sports?
Sports.
Yeah.
Fleetwood Mac, Rumors. I go Neil Young. Yeah.
All classics.
Yeah.
Yeah. But vinyl is, I'm glad that vinyl's come back too. And
I'm so glad that
we're
you've
able
got
to-
vinyl. I love that.
yeah, I'm just proud to know that someday my CD or my record will be in the used bin at some thrift store, and they'll be able to find it. At least,
100%,
you know, it's not digital trash out there floating around. But yeah, that was something that was cool to make, and I've been blown away how many people purchase the vinyl. I've actually done better on vinyl than I did on CDs.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And
Can you talk a little bit about the art and how that
yeah,
looks
it's
awesome?
there is an artist in Kansas. Her name's Susan Buck, and she listened to the masters of the record, and I just trusted her on it and said, "Hey, paint what you see." And I've already liked her work, but she sent me the album cover in its entirety back, and she had listened to the songs and put elements of all the songs into the artwork, and I don't know, I credit her 100% for that. Like, I wish that I could say that I had this grand vision. I didn't. I just knew that I knew what I was gonna like, and I knew it's kind of like hiring the right players to play on your record. I just knew that she would get what I was doing and paint the cover in a way that I would go, this is great. So
That's so cool.
yeah.
It looks awesome.
But and then the single for Pink Flamingos, another Kansas artist, April Lemon, painted that, and tried to do as much as I could. I'm from Northeast Kansas, so I wanted to get as many artists and people involved from my hometown and from my area, because that's essentially what the record was about. It's like
Right.
exporting real life a little bit, and what it was like to grow up in Kansas and the situations you go through and friends and all that stuff.
Totally. I think that's one of the first things we ever talked about, was telling those stories.
Yeah, that's what I don't know with the next record. I like my happy place is writing more songs about that kind of subject matter. So, but I'm completely happy to be playing songs about where I'm from. It means something to me. So
Totally.
yeah.
Well, I think we're about out of time. Do y'all want to do another one? Do you want to? I don't know what you're feeling.
You should do Rebel Kids, man. I want to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is one of my favorite songs. I think this is my favorite song you've written, man. It's a great tune.
Yeah. Justin Moore cut it. It's on his new record.
Yeah.
It's called Rebel Kids.
Dad
Daddy drove a Bobcat and Mama poured coffee in the cast iron steel that they shared the same lot as the Emco. I remember me and my brother busting out a screen door like a couple wild Indians, 10 speeds for horses as fast as we could go. And I ain't ashamed at how I was raised. You couldn't wipe the dirt and dust, a smile off my face. I still got the scars from growing up hard. And there ain't a barefoot summer gone by that I'd ever change about this old boy and the way we live. God bless the rebel kids. We were Walmart rubber boots out in the rain, shooting empty Coke cans in the Coldwater Creek with a 10-pump pellet gun. We was Zebco, reeling Marlboro, stealing out of Daddy's new pack just to get the back of his callous hand. Oh, I can still feel it, man. And I ain't ashamed at how I was raised. Couldn't wipe the dirt and dust, a smile off my face. I still got the scars from growing up hard. There ain't a barefoot summer gone by that I'd ever change about this old boy and the way we live. God bless the rebel kid. God bless the rebel kid. You don't realize till you look back, there wasn't money in the bank. Your mom and dad were just doing the best they could. And I ain't ashamed at how I was raised. You couldn't wipe the dirt and dust, a smile off my face. I still got the scars from growing up hard. There ain't a barefoot summer gone by that I'd ever change about this old boy and the way we live. God bless the rebel kid. God bless the rebel kid.
Yeah, man, love that song.
Well, thank you guys so much for doing this and chatting and hanging out with us. And
Thanks for having
thanks
us.
to George Dickel for
We
letting
really
us hang out at
enjoyed
the
the,
Yeah,
distillery
yeah,
and-
this is great.
The 17-year Dickel whiskey waiting for us. So that was great, and thank you to them and to the Shotgun Seat.
Thanks
Really
to
good.
everyone tuning in with us.